Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Reverend Barry from the Badass Band Leader Show. And on today's episode, what I want to talk about is why do good band members quit? If you've been a band leader for any length of time, you know that pain of dealing with a phone call where you get like a great drummer, guitarist, or whatever. They call you up and they just have that tone about their voice and like, hey man, I got some bad news. I think and then they, for whatever reason, they need to leave the band, and that can be really stressful as a band leader because you immediately, especially if they're a great player, you're thinking, oh man, how am I going to be able to replace this person? And then you're thinking about, what do you have to do to replace them? You think especially if you have gigs on the books, of course, you're immediately thinking about, um, you know, getting subs or whatever you need to do. It can be, it can be really stressful. But what I was thinking about was, what are the reasons? If you've been doing it in a length of time at all, one of a common reason would be, there's some kind of life change that's going on with them, and maybe it's, they've got a new baby. That's I've seen that happen before. Like, you've got a young guy who's just got married recently and or whatever, and a few years into it, and then they have their first baby, and then the wife is like really not cool with the fact that her husband is he's gone every Friday, Saturday night playing gigs or whatever, even more often, and leaving her at home with the baby. I've seen that. And then the other thing, maybe might be some other kind of life change, like, if they've got a day job, they've got a new day job, and maybe that's, higher, more responsibility. Maybe they're expecting them to work weekends or something like that. And then, the band doesn't seem really all that feasible. I've seen other guys that, kind of struggle with, the drugs or even alcohol. Now hopefully if you're in that situation, sometimes that might actually be a good thing if they leave. Or they may have like maybe some kind of religious conviction that maybe they need to leave the band because it kind of puts them in a whatever. I mean, I've seen it all. I've been doing this long enough to where I've seen everything, and I've quit bands, frankly, for some of those same reasons. But what I really wanted to dive into tonight is one of the main reasons that people leave bands would be because what I call the big mo, or the lack of the big mo, which means the lack of momentum, meaning that there's nothing really going on with the band, and they might sit there, they're looking out at the crowd and they're thinking, we're playing for the same faces every weekend, or we're playing these same bars, and we're not making very much money. We're not making, it's just. And then after a while, they kind of start thinking to themselves, like, why am I doing this? Why am I spending every Friday, Saturday night doing this for $100, maybe some tips? I'm staying out till 3 and 4 in the morning by the time I get home. And we've been doing this now for 5 years or whatever the number is. And that's when they start, they just kind of like, I just want to do something else. Or what can really be hurtful is when you have somebody like that was with you for a while, and then they get an opportunity for another band that's got a little bit more going on, and then you find out, and that can really suck, when somebody quits to go join another band that's, maybe the rival or whatever in town or whatever, but they've got more going on, or maybe they're just making more money or whatever the reason is. But when you really think about it, there's a lot of situations where, it's so common. You've got bands that play the same. I remember there was a band that was when our band first started about six and a half years ago. There was a real popular band in town. We used to go, my wife and I used to go see them play all the time. We thought they were really good. They've been around for 12 years in that configuration, and they played every weekend. They were playing every Friday, Saturday night. They were booked solid, and they played a lot of, like, even some Sundays and stuff. But they never played more than like a 20 square mile radius. They played the same town. They played we're in Sarasota, Florida. They played the same town, pretty much played Sarasota, maybe the neighboring town, and it was just always playing for the same faces, playing for this, same venues. And, after a while, they just called it quits. They were just, they had a good run, but me, I'm not like that. I don't know if you're like that. I like to have something to look forward to. I don't just want the same thing all the time. And I think my band members are the same way. They want to know that we're making strides, that we're moving ahead. And as long as there's hope that the band is moving forward, and maybe that's playing in new town. Like this past weekend, my band actually played 2 brand new venues that we've never played before. We played up in Largo, Florida. We played in Treasure Island at a couple different new venues for us, and that's always cool because it we've been playing a lot of these same songs we've been playing since day one, but those people had never heard us play those songs, and we'd never seen those people before, and it was just that great feeling of, man, you guys are great, you're incredible. And they're buying CDs and all that kind of stuff, and that's a really cool feeling, and that's something that I think all of us as performers, we want to get that opportunity a lot. So as band leaders, I think we have to remember, if you don't want to lose your people, because losing a key person can really be damaging to a band. I mean, we all know that, right? Especially if that person is like your front man or your front girl or whatever, your lead singer. You lose that person, a lot of times it's like pretty much the band is almost over, or you might as well just reinvent yourself as something else. Because if that critical person leaves, it just, then people are like, well, when they lost so-and-so, they just weren't worth seeing. None of us want that to happen. So maybe you're the band leader, but you're not the front man. And that, you need to keep that in mind, as a band leader. Like if you're doing the booking, if you're, making sure that the band is making strides to move ahead, think about the morale of your team, because, band members, this can be an emotional thing. A lot of times when we play music, it's certainly not for the money with a lot of bands, right? We're doing this because we want to entertain people, and we want to perform, and we want to enjoy what we're doing. And when that gets to become a grind every Friday, Saturday night, I don't know about you, man, but I still, like this past Friday, I knew we were playing 2 new venues. I was looking forward to it, because it was exciting. It was the new thing, even though it was just kind of a small venue up in this area. I was kind of stoked about it. And Friday, I was looking forward to it, right? So make sure that your people have something to look forward to, and always be trying to get. And I know it's hard getting new gigs. I know it is, and I wish I had some magic advice to give you. I do have some advice that I'm going to give in some later videos on what some of the tools that's helped us get booked on a pretty regular basis at new venues. But there's really no magic formula to that. It's persistence. It's calling these bar owners over and over, and just getting it done. But one of the things that's really helped us is something unique that we've been doing, because people want to get paid. That's, again, one of the biggest frustrations that people have, is they're not getting paid enough for their time. By the time they go and play a 3-4 hour gig, it takes them 1.5 to 2 hours to set up, and an hour and a half to tear down, and they're basically putting in like practically a 7-hour night and getting home at 4 o'clock in the morning, and they're making $100 for that. Yeah, you do that years on end, it gets really old. And then you want to just quit, or you want to just do something else, or go to a band that's maybe got something more going on. Well, so we got tired of that thing, and we actually determined, we figured out a solution, and that was to start. We've been marketing our band and collecting email addresses and creating a big following on Facebook, and over time we started selling tickets to our own shows. We'd either rent larger venues, or we would work out situations with larger venues, and we would actually go in and sell tickets to our own shows, and we started making really great money. Now, we don't do that all the time, and we only do it pretty much here in our hometown, where we've got a really huge following, but we were able to give people better entertainment experiences, and in larger venues that are really nice. They're not these shithole bars or whatever. And our crowd has really responded to it, and they've shown a willingness to pay anywhere from $10 to $40+ per ticket to come to a special event where it's going to really be great. The acoustics are great. There's lots of seating. People will pay for reserved seats, and it's just been amazing to watch this entire process. we've been able to make that happen, and the band's been able to make anywhere from 2,500 to 4,500 plus. And sometimes these are just like larger bars that we're going and working a door deal. Actually, we're doing one this Friday at a large. It's a country western bar, but it's a huge dance floor, big stage, and we worked a deal with them, and we draw tons of people. They're happy. We're happy because we get paid a lot of money to do the show. There's a lot of marketing goes into it, but it's been a game changer for us. It allows us control. We feel like that we're controlling our destiny, if you will, as a band. So I would encourage you to, if you're curious about that, go check out, I've made a video on how the whole thing works, and you can check that out at revclass.com. My stage name is Reverend Barry. This is the name of our band. It's Reverend Barry and the Funk. So I put together this thing. It's at a domain. Just go to revclass.com. There's no opt-in or anything. You could just watch the video, and I explain how we do it, and how the whole process works. And if you like it, just check it out. Let me know. But I think it'll be a huge help to you. It's been a big help to us. And I think get back to that word momentum. It's helped our band achieve momentum where we got exciting things going on. And I don't see any of my band members showing a shakiness about wanting to leave the band or anything, because we have those kinds of exciting things actually happening. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you do like, if you're seeing this video somehow and you haven't liked the page, go ahead and give us a like. Or if you're listening to this on a podcast or YouTube or whatever it is, be sure to follow us. And I'm going to be trying to put out videos like this on a regular basis, just to kind of reflect on my experiences and hopefully experiences with other successful band leaders who are doing cool things. I'm going to be doing some interviews and whatnot. And if you have any ideas for topics, again, let me know in the comments or shoot us a message. But again, thanks for watching. And this is Reverend Barry with the Badass Band Leader Show, signing off.